Oh my gosh, this is like one of my favorite things to see whenever we start a Zoom is all these people flying in that were in the waiting room. Oh, I'm so excited for tonight. So while you're
Yes.
hopping on, I see the participants just going up and up and up and up and up. While you're hopping on, let's get the chat going, you guys. Let's drop in the chat. Where are you calling in from? How long have you been with a Modere? And how are you loving our new products?
Yes, let us know, you guys. We're so excited to be here. We're so excited to start this call with you guys, this 7 o'clock call. Oh, there's a Canadian on there, Ginger.
I
Switch
saw
to
a couple
Canada. I saw
Canadians,
a
saw a couple
Canadian.
Canadians.
Couple. It's going so fast. I just
I
keep finding a couple of
know.
names.
I see PA. I did see PA in there.
Woohoo! Anyone from Utah? That's where I'm at. Haven't seen
Kamloops.
any
Oh my
Utah, but
goodness.
it's going so fast that I can't
I
even.
saw Arizona.
I just saw somebody, Carly Jones. I can't wait to meet you. I actually live in Kamloops, BC. So yay, Kamloops.
Yay. Okay, so many people jumping on, you guys. We're so excited. We are 3 minutes past the hour, so let's just dive right in, you guys. Those of you who don't know me, nobody here knows me. I'm brand spanking new. Me and Ginger both started. We're 3 days in. We're jumping right in and so excited to be on this call. I'm Samantha Kucher. I am your Director of Sales US. Ginger, you're going to hear from her in just a minute. She's over Canada. We are both stoked to be here. We are starting this journey with you guys. So we're stoked to just be starting this journey with you guys together. Welcome to this call. We're so excited to be kicking off this masterclass for the Body Transformation Mentor Program. And I'm just excited for you guys to start this journey. There's been some incredible results and really just starting your health journey. It's been so many great results. Like I said, we had that original group of 28 that went through the program originally, lost a total of 528 pounds collectively, which is just mind blowing. So this program works, you guys, and we have given you guys all of the assets to be successful. So we're excited to dive in and start this journey together. We have some amazing training lined up for you guys tonight with some incredible trainers that will introduce you in just a minute. These calls are going to be going every single week, so you'll get an email to sign up weekly. New topics, new information every single week, but also you guys should all be plugged into the Facebook group that just has so much information in there, so many resources. So we're going to have a lot of questions, a lot of information. So it's going to be a great place for you to go get additional questions answered, refresh on everything you're going to learn here, recipes, inspiring stories, inspiring before and afters, all the things. Check out the Facebook group. Again, we're thrilled that you guys are here. And Ginger, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Awesome. Well, like Sam said, we are brand new. We are day 3 in our Modere journey as employees. My name is Ginger Watton. I am your country manager for Canada. I do live in Canada, but I am in Utah. I've had an amazing week here. And what do I have to say? I have to tell you guys this. You have the field has the best, most energetic corporate staff I think I've ever worked with. So that passion, that energy is just going to be infused into all of you. So we are again thrilled to have you guys here tonight. A few things we want to touch base on just before we pass it to our amazing trainers today. We want you to be active in the chat. We also know that you're going to have some questions, okay? In the chat, it goes so fast, so we're not going to be able to see questions there. If you are on your computer at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see 3 little dots. If you click on that, you're going to see a Q&A. That's where we'd like you to type your questions. I just want to say though, you're going to hear from the trainers, so perhaps some of your questions are going to be answered. At the end of this, we'll answer as many questions as we can. We're going to try to keep this, well, we will keep this call to about an hour. I want to remind you that at the end of this call is when you're going to turn in your inches, your weight, your measurements. So make sure you fill out that form before you exit the call. We will put up a QR code, so get ready for that. There's going to be a QR code that you scan and enter your measurements there. Before we get to that point, we are going to have a little poll that we're going to put up at the end of the call. But are you guys ready to get started? Here's the thing. I love emojis. So I want to see in the chat some fire bombs if you're ready to get going. I want to see some, oh gosh, what else? What else can we throw at them? Some dancing ladies, some dancing
Some
men,
hearts,
like
give us some
the
hearts,
some
all the
love,
things. Throw us your
all the
favorite
things.
emoji.
All the things. We want your favorite, yeah, your favorite emoji. That's a good one. We want your favorite emoji in the chat. Okay, we are going to throw this right onto our certified trainers and coaches. They're experts in this field and they are going to give you some amazing information tonight. So make sure you have pen and paper to take some notes. And please welcome to the call, Kira North and Megan Jones.
Thanks, ladies. Super, super excited to be here. What I absolutely love, especially, is we've done some other trainings before, and usually people have their screens turned off. It is wonderful to see so many faces and screens on. I think it's just a lot of fun to see everyone kind of interacting and seeing what everyone is coming from and looking like. So thank you for that. Do you want to go first, Megan, or do you want to go?
You go. Take it
Okay.
away.
You did a little last one. So coach and have been in this space for about 5 to 6 years. Love the food side, but also love how much just everything that you guys are going to be doing is very similar to what we coach on. It's not just the results piece, but it's making sure your results have a place to live. If you think about it, most people know what to do. It's keeping things sustainable and really creating a lifestyle that allows for you to identify with the work that you're doing, which is a lot of what we're going to be going over tonight. Really kind of making it realistic and real life. Megan and I are both moms. We know what it's like to have hectic schedules and kids going in different directions and have jobs to do and, appointments to be at and missing things. So really making sure that we help guide people to make the best choices, considering the context of their lives, but still feeling like they can have control over their health.
Yeah, perfect. I've been in the space for 7, 8 years, nutrition coaching, also do some personal training, but same with Kira, like we work with women basically in this like middle age group, 40, 60, even younger, a little bit older, but we get where you're at. We have busy lives and we want to make plans where it's like, this is sustainable and also create a space where it's like, there's going to be moments where life happens. How do we navigate that space? So it's kind of cool to kind of keep pushing through these hard moments because we know, hey, next week is going to be better. And so don't let plateaus or tough weeks really kind of derail it. Because if you look at this, hey, this is an 8-week program. This is a years and years long program, not just a small little stint. So we really want to provide you with the tools and just the know how to do this, the why behind it, when to do it, and just make it very, very sustainable for everybody.
Love that.
Okay.
So overview of what we're doing. Oh, you want to?
No, you go.
I'm going to go back one. What kind of? Who's doing slides? There we go. Overview of what we're going to be focusing on tonight, just so you guys have an idea of it. There's going to be more, of course, each week we're going to go through and dive in a little bit deeper into each one of these topics. But tonight's going to be just more so the program overview, what you all started doing already, how to track for your success, the food component, how you're going to be eating, what you're going to be eating, and then, of course, the other lifestyle components like exercise and movement. And then, measurements for that success and what to be paying attention to, like your biofeedback and how your clothes are fitting and how you're feeling. Other ways outside of that scale that you can be paying attention to kind of keep that momentum going for yourself. And then also going over Curb for yourself tonight to kind of have a little bit more insights as to what that product does for you and when you're going to be utilizing that.
Perfect. Next slide. All right, 4-4-12. So I know yesterday it was all your day one. So who did the 4-4-12? How did it go? I know it's going to be probably a little bit of a shift. Most people are basically eating from the minute they wake up to bedtime. And the purpose behind the 4-4-12 is we're definitely spacing out the meals. We're allowing the blood sugar to come down. We're allowing you to have kind of bigger meals, more protein, fiber focused, and using a lot of those lower glycemic, micro dense foods just to help kind of boost through the day. The 12-hour fasting window is the same, allows that blood sugar to drop before going into your next day. So I'm a big believer, if you're controlling your blood sugar during the day, it's going to be a whole lot better during the night. So a lot of people are already noticing their digestion is better, their sleep is a whole lot better, their energy is better, just having a little bit of shift in their meal timing. But yeah, we want to make sure we're in this 4-hour windows. More importantly, we do want to keep that 12-hour fasting. I know there's gonna be times you're busy, you're driving kids around. Yeah, maybe like a 3.5 or a 5-hour. I think try to keep it as close as you can to 4. So don't get too hard on yourself if it can't be perfect due to schedule. But we're really going to kind of now dive into what's on your plate. How do we eat? What are we eating? Just to help create like longevity in this process and just have you feeling your best throughout it.
Next slide. All right. So foods to eat. This, of course, we have ideal foods, foods that kind of, I like to kind of go with a stop or a red light, green light. It's kind of like green light foods, right? Foods, of course, you want to be low glycemic impact. These foods are going to be really high in fiber, a lot of like micronutrients, as we call it. Macronutrients are where all of your food energy sources come from. So macronutrients is for overview, come in 3. So we have protein, we have carbs, and we have fats. Micronutrients are where you're getting all of those nutrients that our body needs, vitamins, minerals, protein, carbs, those kind of things are going to come from just those protein or carb or fat categories. So we have micros and then we have macronutrients. Now, low glycemic foods, these are what most of the foods you're going to be getting in your 4-4-12. And the reason being, these are going to keep you feeling full for longer. They're also going to be packed full. They're all from the earth, but you also have those gray area of like the medium glycemic foods. These are ones you're going to be kind of just focusing on having sparingly. And then we have foods to really avoid. Now, a lot of these foods on here, you're going to notice the difference between, you know, we have white bread on here or fried fish or fried chicken. We know that's not going to be as good for us as, you know, whole chicken, like grilled chicken, or fish that's actually just kind of roasted or air fried if you're like me. So we know there's going to be a difference between not just how foods are prepared, but where the food sources are coming from. Now, we have talked before too, when you're out on a go, right? There's real life. Megan and I were talking about both being moms. We have places we need to be. Sometimes a day goes sideways and everything goes to hell in a handbasket. What do you do when you're out and about and you have to figure out what to eat because you forgot your food or you got pushed behind or whatever? If you're out and about and there's watermelon offered, which is a high glycemic food, is watermelon bad? No. Food in and of itself is not bad, and we don't want to demonize any of it. But in terms of recognizing that anything that's going to come from the earth is going to be good for your body. However, for the program, for how you're eating, for the results you're looking for, and for the products themselves, you're going to get the best results and feel the best by sticking to the lower glycemic foods. So just for reference there, right? Like I do like watermelon. Watermelon was the thing I had all summer, but nothing bad happened to me. But I also just made sure how I was feeling based on those other components too. And you'll also find this list. I believe it's pinned in the Facebook group too. So if you ever have a question, you can kind of pull it up, screenshot it. I like to kind of keep these things on my phone too and keep it in my favorites folder just for reference if you're out and about and on the go. I love watermelon. I love people like everyone's like, I love watermelon. It's so good.
All right. Ooh, you guys all are excited about this one. So the reset refeed meal. So this is going to be 1 time a week. If you don't mind going to the next slide, there's a lot more detail on the next slide. Can you skip to the, oh, there we go. A little slower. Oh, not that one. I think it's the one after this. We'll go back to that. So go to the next one. Okay, so this is the purpose behind. There's a lot of different reasons, psychological, physical, internal. So refeeds are going to vary from person to person based on their caloric demands. Basically, this refeed is kind of we're kind of using this as a reset more mentally because yeah, your guys are digging hard with your food plan and we know life's going to happen. We're going to have date night. We're going to have birthday parties we're going to go to and we want to make space for that and we want to make it realistic where, hey, we can still have this but still have great results. The other thing too, when you do have a reset or refeed where you're most likely going to get a little boost in calories, this helps offset negative adaptations because when you are in a little bit of a deficit, it can really impact your metabolism. And when you are decreasing calories, it kind of allows things to kind of slow down. So this is a great way to keep stoking the fire, keep the metabolism in a really good place. Also helps some of these other negative adaptations like your hunger hormones. When you are dieting or in a dieting phase, your ghrelin, that's your hunger hormone, is probably screaming at you. You're really hungry. Your leptin then decreases, and that is your satiety hormone. So what happens when you eat a little bit more, you can actually raise your leptin levels and you'll feel better. You'll feel good for probably the rest of the week. So just kind of increasing that. And it also helps prevent muscle breakdown and just kind of getting a little bit of a boost of energy and also something to look forward to.
On another note of that too, Megan and I mentioned like we work with people who are in the same position as us, same position as you. They have weight to lose. They want to better their health. We want to be around with their kids and their grandkids for a lot longer. You also think about like the celebrations. I remember going through, I had a long diet history years ago where like I missed anniversaries, I missed birthday parties, I missed my own birthday because of really restrictive dieting that was not fun or didn't allow for me it. Reset meals are really great. They give you something to look forward to, but we also have the people that we work with do this too, to give themselves that space of, okay, hey, how am I still learning about how food is making me feel? But also giving themselves something to look forward to and being intentional with how they're utilizing food. Because how many times have we eaten food? I'm notorious of having a history of I'll watch a movie and then I didn't even realize I was having a bag of popcorn or chips in my hand because I was so used to kind of mindlessly grabbing something. These kind of reset meals are intentional for you and they allow for you to almost have a better relationship with food because of how you're utilizing that mindfulness. I also saw in the chat too, somebody mentioning that they love that this is not being called a cheat meal. And I also want to actually personal philosophy to that, love that as well. We don't cheat. And the only thing is you're not cheating anyone other than yourself, right? Nothing good comes from cheating. I personally just don't like, I think just it's like a yicky kind of approach to like food itself, but also anything else in your life. We don't cheat in and get ahead. So again, the concept of this is really support, as Megan mentioned, the metabolic side of it, internal health, but also the psychology around how we're approaching food and what it can do for us by being intentional around it. So no cheating here. You're not cheating on anyone other than yourself. So we don't have to worry about that because you can't hide from yourself, but you can definitely utilize this to your benefit in a lot of beautiful ways. All right, next slide.
All right, we're going to talk about logging. So I think a lot of people have some experience with MyFitnessPal. There's a lot of great tracking apps out there. So really you can track wherever. Some people in the last session were using pad and paper, which that is probably going to be a little bit more of a headache because you're going to be looking up what is the calorie intake? What are these macro breakdowns? So this is probably one of the most frustrating part in the first few weeks with tracking. You are learning something new. It's going to be a little bit of push. It's going to be uncomfortable, but kind of pushing through, getting those first 2 weeks in, it really does become like second nature. Also, pre-tracking, having a plan for the day is a complete game changer. When people are winging it, that is where frustration really can settle in. So have a plan, get some meal prep in, having some structure in your day. And I love that the 4-4-12 really does. It's like, this is your structure. You have to make this work. So yeah, you definitely, people will get more results, even just power of the mind, the intent and the purpose of, hey, I'm doing this for me. I'm putting more intention into my actions. And really what you'll learn from tracking about yourself is pretty much incredible. And you will learn a lot.
Yeah, and I think another piece of that too is with the 4-4-12, it's great to make sure when it comes to that planning piece, reframing your day, instead of having food fit into your busy day, make your day fit around your food. Your food is a basic need, and we're really good at putting ourselves last or waiting to the last minute or not giving ourselves the nutrient-dense food that we probably are wanting. So really making sure logging can help support you taking that time to anticipate for your need that is basic. You would not have a loved one skip a meal. You would not have a loved one kind of go into a really important meeting or a day with very little food. This is a great way to make sure you're not doing it for yourself. All right, next slide. There we go. Woo.
Did we skip one?
I think we did. I think it was tracking tips.
Ooh, no, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
Kidding. All right. What do you record? I think we can go ahead and push to the next one. Okay, so this is kind of what the outlook of MyFitnessPal looks like. We all have a love-hate relationship with this app. So there does take a little bit of skill, a little bit of wiggle room in how to learn to do this. I would definitely look up how to track in MyFitnessPal, find a YouTube tutorial, just how to input things, how we're going to start measuring and weighing things are going to be very, very different than what we're used to as well. So we're going to really dive into some tips and tricks into MyFitnessPal because this is probably like one of these basics we do need to learn before we start diving into other things. So get used to the app, do some little bit of research, get comfortable with it, track everything. And this will really show you kind of where things are kind of falling short. I have kids, like I'm so used to just grabbing things off their plate and be like, oh, wait, what did I do? So this is going to be very eye-opening. We go to the next.
And those would be a lot of the tracking tips in general. So, of course, when it comes to tracking, anytime that you're going to be inputting food, you want to get as specific around what you're tracking as possible. For one, it's going to help support just awareness around, are you getting enough protein in? Are you getting enough of that fiber in? How much of one of those macronutrients that you're learning about? When I first started, I had no idea what a macronutrient was. But it allowed for me to really see, okay, where am I balanced around which macronutrient do I lean more towards and how am I feeling around it? Now, another component to this, which is going to be really important, is protein, protein, protein. And most people undereat on protein because it's the least convenient food to grab and go. You think about protein, it's going to be your eggs, it's going to be your chicken, it's going to be your turkey, it's going to be whatever that is. And you usually have to have that refrigerated or it tastes better warm. And a lot of times we're on the go, it's through a fast food lane. And that's why the quality of that is not the best. However, protein, of course, is a great place with tracking that you can keep awareness around how much you're getting and where it's coming from. So a good rule of thumb, depending on where you are with how much you weigh, is to be taking your body weight and aiming for times 0.8 on the low end, aim for, or 1.2 grams per pound of body weight on the high end. Now, Megan had a really good point last time, whereas if you have somebody who weighs or has a good chunk of weight to weigh, you might want to go with your goal weight because you might feel like, oh, I only get 100 grams in per day. When you're tracking, you might discover that. However, on the other side, you might need to be getting closer to 200 grams. You're going to be really miserable with meat sweats, as we call them, trying to double the amount of protein you're used to. So it's really getting used to tracking, allowing yourself to kind of get familiar with how much protein do I actually take in with just how I'm normally eating with this framework. Where can I just gradually increase it from maybe week to week or even day to day, just a little bit? You don't want to go with 0 to 60 with protein. So just kind of something to keep in mind, but allowing yourself, like I said, to get really specific around the tracking. Weighing your food with a food scale, grams or ounces, is great. I would highly never recommend estimating a medium apple unless you're out to eat for dinner, right? Which we'll talk about. But getting really specific around the quantity of food that you're eating in the MyFitnessPal, but also always making sure being close to cross-checking. MyFitnessPal, the blessing and the curse of it is it's not always your pal. So whatever recipe I entered in from dinner tonight, you all are lucky because you could go and search that and add it in and hope it has all those low glycemic foods in it that I'm telling you it does. The beauty of that is I could do that. The downfall is that you got to trust me enough to know that I'm right. So making sure that you are being specific with your foods, look for ones that have a little green check mark next to it. That could also make sure it's just verified, but also looking at your labels to confirm that what you're entering in is actually what those numbers are matching up to. It's a little bit of a learning curve. It does take some time, but it is worth it. Once you enter that stuff in also to MyFitnessPal, it is in your food log to be utilized. So you don't have to kind of do it every single time. It kind of makes it easier to kind of add in. Megan, do you want to go over the serving sizes for out to eat and the palm and fist?
Yes. So kind of the beauty behind this whole process too, like we know we're going to go out to eat. How do we guesstimate when we are not at home using the food scale? So we kind of use the hand system. Basically the palm of my hand, that's going to be a 4-ounce serving of protein. So I want to at least make sure, hey, I'm getting 4 ounces. Men may need more. Your protein demands are going to be higher. So men shoot for 2 palms. For a serving of non-starchy, those low glycemic veggies, we're going to look for a fist. And then carbs, say it's just a palmful. So it's not as big as that vegetable amount, but it is going to be a palmful of carbs if needed. Fats are the tricky thing when you are out to eat. Unless you're asking for, say, no oil, no butter on a chicken breast or sirloin, there's definitely going to be oil and butter. It's why it tastes a whole lot better at a restaurant than it does at home. But I always err on the side of, hey, a tablespoon about the size of my thumb, that's going to be a serving of oil that I'm going to add into my tracker. That kind of helps offset some of those extra hidden calories because fats are really hard to see sometimes. You can see the protein, the carb, the veggies, but you can't always see those hidden oils. So I kind of overestimate with the fat when I do go out to eat. Just put a tablespoon or 2 extra in there.
I love that. All right.
Okay.
Why does tracking actually matter? Now, obviously, we know it's accountability. It's also recognizing trends. But as we kind of were touching a base earlier, it helps support setting yourself up for that success in the planning. I saw so many people in the trap, planning, fail to plan to fail. It's so true, but it also allows for you to have those pivots as needed. So for example, I like to pre-log my food out for the day. For one, it helps me think about food way less. I don't have to obsess over, okay, what's my next meal? Am I going to like my next meal? I already have that kind of thought around. It's there for me to kind of grab and go. I get more time, more brain power and thinking back. On the other side of it, we're talking about the nuance of life. You're going to have things where you might forget your food, or you want to go out to eat, or your girlfriends are kind of like, hey, we're going here, let's do it. And you're like, I want to, I'm a social butterfly. You can still mimic or mirror a lot of the foods that you're eating out to be similar around the foods that you're eating at home, and keeping things super simple with being like, okay, I was planning to have a taco bowl for dinner. I'm going to do a taco bowl out or go somewhere similar and kind of frame my meal out really similar to that. So it does help create that awareness and that accountability, but it is a tool for you to utilize for the life that you're living as well, which is wonderful. All right, next slide.
All right, water. Okay, so I'm in Arizona. It's still like 106 here, so we are all chronically dehydrated. So I probably need more water than I'm actually drinking. I have my emotional support Stanley over here, goes everywhere I go. But really the main goal is half your body weight in ounces, and then you're adding 15 ounces for every hour of exercise. So say I weigh 140, I want to hit at least 70 ounces plus 15. If I'm out and about running around, I'm probably going to add a little bit more. So this is just not even just important for like, yeah, we need to be hydrated, but for your blood sugar, for your gut health, even a slight dip in hydration, you'll notice like performance in your workouts dramatically decline. So making sure we're hydrated. I like Kira in the last one said, start your day with at least 20 ounces of water before coffee, before food. We do a thing in our company called Wake Water Walk. So wake up, get your water, get outside, get some sunshine, do a walk for 15-30 minutes, and really kind of set the tone for the day just by these 3 simple things.
And I'm also notorious, I told the last group, I'm notorious for being awful with water. Now I say awful is like, I still get all my water in, and I need to brag on myself for that because I do it, but I have to make sure I think more about water than I do food. The other piece of that is water is what helps me prevent myself from having to do Botox. I half joke about that because I don't want to do Botox, but I will tell you how much more benefits we get from something that is so unsexy as water. Not just digestion, not just satiation, not just performance in the gym, but also like your body needs water to just function itself. And you see that a lot of times. I see it in my skin alone. So I kind of like to also put that one in there because on top of trying to, help yourself have a healthier lifestyle, you also want to look healthier. I think that's a good big piece of this as well. So water is huge and very underestimated, but it's an unsung hero of success. I had to put that one in there.
That's a motivation for sure.
It's mine.
Exercise and movement. Okay, so when we're talking about our exercise, we're really going to start leaning into resistance training, bodybuilding, lifting weights, at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week. We really want to start getting our bodies in a place where we are building muscle versus, other forms of exercise. Our muscle mass, one, that's your youth, that's your metabolism. You're going to be able to handle a whole lot more food when you have more muscle. And I'm 42, like I know those perimenopause, menopause years are coming. And I know once you hit menopause and there's a big drop in your muscle mass, usually in that time, women are not moving as much. They stop lifting. You're not running around carrying children anymore. So there's going to be a big decline in muscle mass. And then by the time they're 60, they're like, oh no, like I've lost muscle mass. It's so much easier to put on that body fat. So really start kind of diving into the resistance training. There's great apps out there that can really help give you a plan. It'll be something to stick to. Find a trainer just to learn how to be comfortable with these movements as well, especially if you've never stepped foot in the gym. I have plenty of clients who have never worked out or lifted a weight in their life. And basically I say, hey, you're going to drive to the gym. You're going to walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes, do a set of bicep curls, and then head out. Just creating that habit of like getting comfortable in the gym. So I promise no one's looking at you. And we always think we're sticking out like a sore thumb, but everyone's focused on their workout. So, and I think Kira had some great comments about machines. Do you want to go over that?
Yeah, I think a lot of times I actually was just talking with one of my clients right before the last call, and they had asked, because I put them on a training program that had them doing mostly machines. And they asked me, they said, aren't machines cheating compared to like someone who's doing a bench press? And I asked her, I said, cheating what? And she's like, oh, I thought, it wasn't as good for you. Machines are a wonderful place. I use machines for a lot of my training. But machines are really great, especially if you're new to potentially getting into the gym. For one, you can immediately see what the movement is telling you to do. But also you have a lot of options for resistance, right? Where you're starting out with, how heavy or light you want to go. But it's also really, really hard to injure yourself on a machine because of how they are set up for you. So if you're new to that space, you're unfamiliar, going in and just kind of moving around with a machine or whatever that looks like for you, you're going to get way more out of it in that field than going in and trying to look like you don't know what form looks like, or you're concerned about that, just depending on where you are in your, activity levels. But as Megan said, muscle is a currency of longevity. So regardless of where you are in this, in your journey, lifting weights is going to be huge for any outcome you have, whether it's performance, whether it's aesthetics, or whether it is for just the rest of your life and trying to live the longest life you have.
All right, walking. I think this is like my favorite little chart right here because I
It
think
is, Megan. You do love
blows
this. You're so good
people,
at
I know, I'm
it.
like so excited. It blows people's minds. So, explaining your TDEE. So, this is the amount of calories you need per day to like keep you going, keep you functioning. All these things are different calorie outputs. So, your EAT, that is your normal exercise. That's when you go to the gym, you lift your weights or do a HIIT workout, do a CrossFit workout, something like that. You can see like how little that is actually burning. TEF, that is the thermal effect of our food. So that is the amount of our body needs to break down, digest food. Eating more protein definitely increases your thermal effect. So it also helps increase your metabolism. And then this is where walking comes in. Walking, fidgeting, all these extra movements. This is your NEAT. This is why this has such a huge impact on your body comp goals for losing body fat is right here. It is the secret sauce. So yes, we all need to be walking. Yes, we need to be weight training. So this is, and plus too, if you have not dived into weight training, just start with walking and we're going to build you into it. BMR. So this is basically, if you just laid in bed and did nothing all day, this is the amount of calories you would need just to keep all your organs going, keep all bodily functions going. So as you can see, most of your calories are your BMR. When you have more muscle mass, your BMR will be increased. So that is why there is a big push to keep up with the resistance training. Most people, I have them check their last 3 months of steps. People are pretty surprised when they're like, hey, I'm only at 3,000 or 4,000. So it is pretty eye-opening, keeping that on track, keeping that on target. Would love everyone to get to at least 10,000 steps, if not slightly more. But this does a lot to your metabolism right here. So it's very underrated.
We're also talking about water too, or not water, walking as that priority, right? There's a huge chunk compared to your training, compared to your walking. One's going to, of course, do more in terms of burning calories and, of course, supporting your overall health than the other. Both are equal in terms of effort, right? We still want to make sure you are getting the training in if you're able to, and prioritize that just as much, because again, we want to build up that lean muscle tissue, and you're not going to do that while walking. But walking, as we're talking about, it balances your blood sugar levels. It's going to improve that digestion. And of course, the other benefit that people, as Megan mentioned, we do a wake water walk. The benefits of your nervous system, which of course, if you have a very high stress life, if you had to pick between a training day or a walking day and to pick between one of the others, if that's the kind of day you're already having, stress is probably already high. Steps are huge, especially if done outside, for your nervous system and calming your body down, which is also going to impact hunger. It's going to impact your mood. It's going to impact how your body is digesting things, all the things that your products and your meal program is kind of like focusing on. Walking is a huge component to that helps support it. So you'll notice you have ways that you're eating and what you're focusing on. You have support in terms of supplementation that's also going to be beneficial for that. But there's other things that are super simple that are free that most people can do in some way or another, regardless if you're hitting that 10K or not. So walking is just, it is that priority for a reason. And highly, highly recommend making it a part of your day. I actually like to do a wake water walk. I wake up, drink my water that I struggle to get in, and then I go for a walk to just get like 15 to 20 minutes in. just to get a chunk out of my day. That way I try to then aim for having at least half my steps in by lunchtime. So it's kind of like allowing yourself to kind of utilize your schedule a little bit for that support too. All right, next slide.
All right, what we pay attention to. So yes, we're looking at the scale. Yes, we're looking at measurements, but we also look at other biofeedback, like how am I feeling? Am I starving? Am I like rage hungry? What's my mood? What's my digestion like? What's my sleep like? So everything, all these non-scale victories, I think we put so little value where really they are a big deal. Like seeing clients were like, hey, I slept through the night. I woke up feeling amazing. My digestion's better than ever. My energy's through the roof. You know, sometimes it takes a second for the scale to reflect or measurements to reflect. But I really think a healthy body is a responsive body. So having these biofeedback markers in a good place, you're going to see those results come. And then just be patient. Patience is the name of the game.
I love that I love that, Megan, just like a responsive body in general. And that's what we're kind of talking about. We often pay attention to that scale because it fluctuates a lot. And just so you all know, if you're somebody who does like to utilize that scale as a tool, recognize that it is a tool, that your body is an organism and it's supposed to fluctuate depending on what's happening in the day. It can fluctuate from poor sleep. It can fluctuate because of stress from the day prior. If you had a great lift, it can fluctuate. It can go up, it go down. If, depending on what your digestion has been like, depending on your water levels, your scale is supposed to move because it's responding to everything that you're giving it within the day. So that's where the scale is one component, but measurements, how your clothes are fitting, again, how your skin is looking with that water, are all really great ways of recognizing the progress that you are making. Do not underestimate those, because if you are seeing those, your body's responding a lot faster than you may realize when we're also super impatient. And as Megan said, that consistency over time too, that patience is huge, so big. Rome wasn't built in a day. I hate that phrase, but it's so true.
All right. So all these amazing supplements, this one is so good because there's so much information about our gut bacteria, our gut-brain axis that we are now kind of tapping into. This also works like on an internal sense because there is ingredients in it like a potato starch, which actually will kind of expand. It'll make you feel a little bit fuller. So kind of picking when you want to take this is like, when do I feel snacky? When do I feel like I'm struggling? I want to eat something. I want to grab a bag of chips. I prefer like middle of the afternoon, kind of between lunch and dinner. That's when I'm like, ooh, what should I do? So it works on that internal sense, giving you that sense of fullness. You definitely want to drink it fast though. So with that resistant potato starch, it will get a little bit thicker. So chug it down. I would definitely follow it with an extra bit of water. So, and the crazy thing about this is our gut bacteria will produce GLP-1. So this is going to help you feel more full. It's going to help you feel more satisfied. This bacteria has a crazy name. It's called Akkermansia, but this will contain the Akkermansia just to help promote those GLP-1s. So really helping with blood sugar, helping control cravings, and also the potato starch, resistant starch. If you know a little bit about your gut bacteria and your gut flora, you need these resistant starches that help feed your gut bacteria. So your good gut bacteria, when they get this resistant starch, that's going to help them flourish, help them be in a great place, really promote really good gut health. And so that is why it's so important, because there is this brain axis connection. When people have a little bit of a messed up gut and things are a little bit out of balance, their cravings are a little bit different because of that access. So definitely a good product, but really you can pick and choose when you want to take it. Some people like to take it before bed. It really is just kind of up to you, but definitely drink it with water, drink it fast. It gets a little bit thicker.
Another piece to that too is, I know Jen was talking about this, the beauty of it too. You're taking it and getting almost immediate outcomes for it. You're noticing it with the moment you're doing it versus like days later. The beauty of this too is it's not just a short-term support. There's so many benefits internally over a long period of time as well that really does reshape your microbiome, which is your gut health, with prebiotics, fiber, really helping it support the overall health for it. So the more that you take it, the more benefits you're going to get over a period of time, not just immediately as well, which you don't really have a lot of things out there right now that's supporting the short-term and long-term support and use of it.
Yeah, and another thing too, a lot of people are struggling with a whole pack. Start with a half, and that's totally okay. And just kind of let your body adjust, especially if you're not used to these prebiotics, if you're not used to a little bit extra fiber. So start slow, and then you can keep building up.
Yeah, I think we also too, assume someone had asked before, do you want to take it before bed? You probably, I mean, if you want that feeling of fullness, if you're somebody who likes the nighttime snacks, potentially, yes, you could try it. But again, it's gonna be more so on your own personal preference and just kind of making sure you're playing around with knowing how you feel on it as well. But I've heard it's really flavorful and yummy.
Mhm. All right, recap. So the program basics, I know I feel like these are basics, but they're so loaded with so much information. Really take the first week or two getting comfortable with the app, getting comfortable with weighing things out and getting comfortable just moving more. So I think just having a lot of grace, we're learning something new. We're supposed to be uncomfortable. And if you are uncomfortable, you're doing it right. So it's just going to be a little bit of time to get this put into practice, but once you do, it feels like second nature.
Yeah. And like we said, we talked about earlier, planning for yourself as well, being flexible and recognizing that you're planning for an ideal scenario in your week. Like you all have your jobs, you all have your families, you all have the fun things you want to be doing. It's not just this, but making sure that you're allowing yourself to stay flexible in your plan, but also not planning for the most ideal. That's where we can get a little rigid in terms of what that outcome looks like. Some people might be type A, or as they call it, all or nothing. The best part about this too is recognizing that you should be planning for the worst case scenario. Plan for who you are when you're tired, plan for who you are when you forget things, plan for who you are when your kid's pulling on you and you're running out the door while also someone's calling you and you're late for work. Plan for real life and allow for yourself to utilize people in the Facebook group, people that are doing this with you, but learn from what doesn't work. If you're not getting it right the first time, that's a wonderful opportunity to recognize, how do I take that to get it right the next time, right? The failing component is how you have success. If you're getting it right out the gate, I highly recommend that you are probably not doing it the way that you should be, because you're not going to learn what you could be. I think we're now going to open it up to questions.
Awesome. Yeah, I have to say I love what you said there about, oh my gosh, it just completely skipped me. But you said like failing is your way to success, to find out what's going to work for you for success, because everybody's body is completely different. Like I'm seeing in the chat and I'm seeing in the Q&A, like, when do I take it? I thought I was supposed to take it a half an hour before my biggest meal. Like I tend to eat smaller meals throughout the day, but I get snacky at night. So I'm absolutely going to be taking this at night. I'll probably start with a half a pack. And yes, I have heard the biggest tip for taking Curb is drink it as fast as possible, because it does kind of fill up, right? And it does have fiber for those people that need fiber. So that this was amazing. My mind is blown. Like I was on the first call, I was on this call, and I'm just learning so much each time. We're going to throw up a poll right now. We're going to go ahead and do that first. So this is just some answers for you to quickly fill out. You can also find this poll on the three little dots down on the bottom. We want you to get started. But while we're doing this poll, Sam, have you had a chance to go into the Q&A and see some questions that we have? Because we have about 15 minutes to answer some questions here.
Yes, so a lot of really great questions. A lot of them I feel like were kind of answered, so we won't get through some of those because, like I said, a lot of the information was answered probably after the question was thrown in there. This one is a good one, and I saw another one around kind of detox. Is my husband's not been doing well digestion wise since starting. Should he stop, or is that his body detoxing? And then in parentheses, she mentioned he doesn't eat well, lots of packaged food. So if you guys want to touch on maybe part of the detox and sort of what to expect, kind of on that side.
Yeah. So is he currently eating packaged food or versus like going from packaged to whole foods?
I would assume packaged, kind of making that transition. Again,
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So if I'm
Yeah, definitely when your food will affect your microbiome. And if you're used to like pretty low quality the fats and carbs, and especially too, like we're increasing protein at each meal. Sometimes that can impact digestion a little bit. Sometimes I'll do like a little bit of apple cider vinegar if you're feeling like your protein's just kind of sitting in your stomach. That's a great way to kind of change the pH of your stomach. People will start noticing things feel a whole lot better. So digestion, it definitely could get worse, especially if you're like, hey, we're eating a vegetable for the first time. Your body's wondering, what is this? So definitely, I think keep in mind of pulling back on those processed foods, or if they're still kind of being incorporated. I think a lot of people are trying to fit protein bars, and even though it's a protein bar, it does have protein. It is still pretty low quality. So really focusing on the whole foods, even at home, even focus on that plate method. What's on your plate? You have your protein, you have your serving of veggies, and anything else you want to add, and just keep things really simple. But yeah, I think the packaged foods could definitely be a huge culprit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to go in again here. So this QR code that you see up on the screen right now, this is the 15 questions. This is your weekly attendance. This is where you're going to be entering in your weights, your measurements, etc. If you're using your phone right now for this call, take a picture of it. You can go back and scan the QR code, or on the bottom there, if you're on your computer, there's 3 little dots and you'll see polls and quizzes. If you click on that, it will come up, those 15 questions will come up for you to be able to answer, and you can do that on your phone as well. I think on your phone, it's on the top right or the top left, but you'll see those and it'll come down to polls. Sam, do we have another question?
Yep. And just one other thing that was mentioned on the call before on that kind of those questions, you guys, I know, and a couple people asked in the chat, if you submitted your weights and your measurements on Sunday, and so it hasn't, it's only been a few days. This is going to be a weekly tracking, so you can enter in the same information that you put in on Sunday. But this is just to, again, track your attendance. There's some other questions in there, so if you have your measurements from Sunday, feel free to put those in as well. That's totally fine. Yeah, this is a quick one, but I like this question. Do you weigh your meat like when it's raw, or after you've cooked it?
This is a wonderful question. Now, I tell the people I work with, whatever you're consistent with, if you're going to weigh all of your meat raw, make sure you're tracking it raw, because MyFitnessPal, whatever app you're doing, actually will give you an option to type in raw or cooked. So I tell people, as long as you're being consistent with your potential inconsistency, you're going to be fine. Now, there typically is going to be a difference between when you weigh it raw versus when it's cooked. You're probably going to lose an ounce with it cooked versus when it's raw. Is that right, Megan? Or I have it backwards?
Yeah, it's like 1.2.
Yeah. So you're going to lose a little bit of that ounce, but as long as you're staying consistent with how you weigh it out, I personally like doing it cooked, because I typically will do a recipe or make something, and then I don't have my raw meat figured out in that regard.
And
So
I
again,
just started eating raw meat, so I'm just gonna wait.
yeah. So whatever you're consistent with, but it's going to be a personal preference. Just make sure your tracking is correct in that the log.
And
Right.
can somebody get too much protein? That was another question. Can somebody have too much protein in a day?
I think with 3 meals, that would be incredibly tough. We've done challenges where we're hitting 50 grams in a meal, and it's a challenge. So I think with our format, with what we're doing with the 4-4-12, I would not be surprised. But in reality, if we look at, what the recommendations have been put out for years and years and years, that protein goal is actually really, really low. And so when we look at like using that 0.8 to 1.2 per gram of body weight or lean body mass, that's going to put people in the hundreds, very rarely in the 200s like some men, but most women, I'm trying to keep between 120 and 150. You're going to notice your cravings really, really decline if you are more protein focused. Also, eating more protein will build more muscle mass. So just that alone, even without lifting weights, I've seen women who aren't lifting, we add more protein, they start feeling leaner and tighter, and they actually feel shifts in their body composition just eating more protein. So if you're noticing like, hey, at the end of the day, I am still starving, look at the amount of protein you're having at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think if most people are kind of finishing around 70, try to push it to 90 to 100 the next week and monitor like, hey, if I get 30 to 35 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I feel so much better the rest of the night.
And there's also a lot of people that have heard the myth that like too much protein's bad for your kidneys, just on the back end of it, because we deal with this a lot. We have a lot of people that struggle with that. Unless you have a level of kidney disease, for the most part, even people with, if they have at least one good working kidney, your kidneys are meant to break food down. So if you have healthy kidneys, that's where it's going to be really hard to push past a threshold protein wise. And research really nowadays will support that you're not going to be able to overdo it as long as you're making sure you're getting it from good whole sources.
Yeah, I have a client with one kidney. She crushes protein.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
What about this-
I have another question really fast in here around there's a couple questions around the 4-4-12 as you guys just mentioned, so just going off of that. Just maybe a general recap on the 4-4-12. Someone's asking it doesn't add up to 24 hours, where are the other hours? Then also somebody's asking she already does a 16-8 split, and how does that differ from a 4-4-12? So if you guys just want to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so you can definitely kind of tap into a smaller eating window, but you are eating 3 meals. So basically, if you're shifting one meal later in the day, like say one's at 9 a.m., one's at 1 p.m., one's at 5 p.m., yes, you're going a longer window. But yeah, you are right. It's not directly 12 hours, but you can shift that window a little bit where you are fasting a little bit longer, which is not necessarily a terrible thing, but just making it appropriate for you. So I think the 4 is really, we want 4 hours between the meals and at least 12 hours of fasting.
Perfect. Thank you.
I was just gonna ask the one question in here. It's about water intake. So some people have issues with plain water. So can somebody drink sparkling water instead? And or what can they flavor? What do you recommend to flavor the water with while doing this type of program?
Seltzer water absolutely counts. I like to do also lemon water, which is actually really great for your kidneys and filtering and cleaning them out naturally. Another one is I like to use the supplement Element. It's ketone salts. You can get them on Amazon. I get them on subscription. I don't also like to just drink plain water. Again, I'm just awful with it. So I use about a half a packet in a big Stanley cup or, a half gallon kind of thing. It helps support just making sure like I am flavoring it a little bit. But that's probably the biggest one I would recommend. Again, also fresh fruit and things like that too. Kiwi, mint, those kind of things, kind of keep it simple, but flavored waters, or seltzer waters absolutely are big ones for you.
And would a protein shake count as one of your meals? Like, so protein shake and then the 4 hours and then lunch and then, like would the protein shake replace one of the meals in this program? That's what I'm trying to ask here.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as it's in alignment too with what, the foods that you're aiming to aim for and eat. I mean, protein each meal. We have some people that have to do it, just most convenient for an early morning person who needs to grab and go. Protein shakes are really good as long as the quality of the ingredients that you're using are there.
Yeah, I think just using items on that list, like you can ramp things up in that protein shake. Because protein, if you're doing just water, it's probably going to be about 120 calories, not a whole lot. So if you're feeling like I did the protein shake and I'm hungry an hour later, maybe making it to a smoothie, add a little bit of fat into it, add some things else into it to kind of bulk it up, make it a little bit more nutrient dense. It should stick with you a little bit longer.
I love it. Someone putting their egg whites. You people are tough. You are tough. I could never imagine. I know people do egg whites all the time. They're like, we're going to add it to this. I'm like, I'm going to cook them. Like, y'all are tough people. I love it. I want to be you.
Yeah, I
that's
saw the
fun.
egg whites with the sugar-free chocolate
Yeah.
syrup on Instagram once. He just drank it. It was,
And they're like, I swear by it. I'm like, I don't want you swearing.
yeah,
Um,
chia and flax seeds. Chia and flax would be
Yes.
awesome. with the
Those would
smoothie.
be wonderful ones. PB2 powder is another great one. So yeah, they definitely count.
awesome. A question here. I had only 2 meals and I'm too full to eat my dinner. What do I do? And I feel like someone else asked something, maybe it was in the chat too, as far as I get full really fast. I don't eat, I can't finish my protein. Do you guys have any tips or tricks on you getting full, but making sure that you are getting your protein in more than just force feeding yourself?
You know, I
Yeah,
think
so
a lot of that,
Oh,
oh, sorry.
go ahead, Megan.
Okay, I think a lot of that comes with time. If you've been really under eating and not eating enough protein, and you're like, okay, now I'm eating protein at every meal, and say in the past you've been doing the easy go, like grab a bag of chips for lunch, and so it's very low protein, you are going to feel very full. But keep on pushing it. I think maybe bring down the amount of protein a little bit, breakfast, lunch, still trying to get protein at dinner, because we still want to have that structure on our plate, like still protein focused. And I think those hunger cues are definitely going to come back. But yeah, right now, since your protein is probably a lot higher than you're used to, you're going to feel very full, which is honestly a good bonus of protein, because you're like, oh my gosh, I had only 2 meals, got a little boost of protein, and I don't feel like snacking the rest of the day. So that is the perk of protein. But I think definitely stick to it. Hunger should start peaking up a little bit next week.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, I think we're just at time, so.
And this, we were about this earlier too with Curb. Oh. I was gonna say, I think we're just like, in terms of Curb too, if you are struggling with fullness and taking it because you want the benefits, this might be where you're maybe pulling it in half or taking a little bit less. You're not intentionally giving yourself that appetite shift or that support even with the digestion, and then working your way into having that after you can get the food in for yourself too. Because you don't want to be depriving yourself of food that you need. Remember, it's that basic need for yourself.
Mhm.
So just kind of playing around, as Ginger mentioned, like kind of how each body's there. Like listening to yours, that, that contact.
Are we here?
No, I can't hear Kira. She kind of glitched out.
She got, yeah, little
Yeah.
glitchy on her side.
Oh, did I?
That's okay.
I had such a wonderful monologue.
I know.
Frozen.
It's still
She's
breaking
gone.
up. Well, we're excited for these to continue, throughout the weeks.
Can you hear me now or no?
You're frozen. Oh, there you go. Sorry. Ginger, go.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say, we're really excited to continue these throughout everybody's journey over these next few weeks. Like, remember to use the Facebook page to your advantage. And you can ask questions in there, etc. I forgot what I was gonna say, Sam, because I was so focused on what Kara was trying to say. So do you have any final words of wisdom for us this evening?
No, I just make sure you guys get your measurements in. Make sure you watch for that email so you can sign up for a call next week. As we said, the content is different every single week, so make sure you're tuning in to get credit and to just absorb all this amazing content and information. So we're excited to go along this journey with you guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see y'all next week.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Megan, Kira.
Yes,
Thank
thank you,
you, guys.
ladies.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good night. Great job, ladies.